There is only world peace where there is power to preserve order among nations. And the retaliatory power of the Strategic Air Command of the United States Air Force is the greatest deterrent to general war there is in the world today. Its nuclear-armed bombers and missiles stand ready to counterattack any aggressor unwise enough to start a general war among the nations of our world. Many SAC bombers carry missiles to increase their strike range. Some carry decoys to multiply the number of targets an enemy's radar would see. There are jet tankers which can refuel bombers outbound for the other side of the world and again on our side to get them home. Nuclear-tipped missiles buried underground will survive all but a direct nuclear hit. Half of the combat-ready bombers and tankers are poised for takeoff within minutes. In addition, some are always airborne along special routes, ready for orders that would send them to their targets. This force is supported by more than 250,000 men, working at more than 75 bases throughout the world. So that we can use this mighty force most effectively, our President, wherever he is, has immediate communication with the SAC Commander-in-Chief through the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the radio and telephone networks of the National Military Command System.
General, this is Senior Controller. You're wanted on Mobile.
The SAC commander has the same immediate contact with all his forces through the SAC communication system. We shall see how this network can swing SAC's armada into action within seconds and control it. But first, let's see how it is used routinely to maintain SAC's high combat-ready levels and alert status. Deep beneath SAC headquarters is a 3-story structure. Its entrances are guarded by specially selected and specially trained air policemen. The building's roof and walls are thick concrete. The steel doors can shut out above-ground environment and seal in a pressurized atmosphere. Decontamination locks allow safe entrance and exit in case of hot radiation outside, while special air conditioners supply fresh air and filter out nuclear contamination. These huge diesel-powered generators can meet the underground electricity needs if commercial sources fail. There's enough food to support personnel for an extended period. Fresh water comes from deep wells. Except in actual or simulated emergencies, the doors are open, and this is merely an office building, housing key operational elements of Strategic Air Command headquarters. On the top and middle floors of the underground is Weather Central, where specialists assemble meteorological facts and record them on global weather maps around the clock. In the teletype relay center, messages are sent to and received from SAC units, other commands, and headquarters United States Air Force. Here, too, they repeat in writing every important voice message sent out to SAC units by command post radio or telephone. Priority and operational telephone communications are handled through special leased lines reaching throughout the world. In the Communication Status Center, skilled technicians monitor the command's communication circuits and keep them operating. Actual command and control of the SAC force takes place at the lower level, deep below ground. Here you have to pass a final security control point where you must be recognized by the guard or by someone inside who sees you on television. This office receives a constant flow of messages reflecting the status of SAC's widely dispersed forces. This information is fed into computers where analysts constantly evaluate SAC versus enemy strength as they relate to emergency war plans. Critical data from the computers can be displayed quickly on screens in the command post. Displays are vital for briefing the commander and the battle staff on daily operations, exercises, or national emergencies. Also at the lower level, deep below ground, are an intelligence situation room and another where operations plans and the Joint Strategic Target Planning staff keep the strategic war plans integrated. Here are the facilities and personnel which the SAC Commander-in-Chief uses continuously to control or monitor SAC operations. The command post has high-speed communications with all SAC units and aircraft and with other Air Force commands and key personnel everywhere. At the far right are the duty controllers. One officer, always a major or lieutenant colonel, and two non-commissioned officers. They are widely experienced in all phases of SAC bomber, refueling, and missile activities, and in controlling day-to-day operations of the force. Each duty controller has landline, cable, and radio circuits to all SAC units. Through these circuits, the controllers receive and pass information about SAC flights, aircraft and missile status, location of key personnel, suspected sabotage reports, and many other facts. They monitor airborne alert aircraft. They follow SAC reflex aircraft, bombers that move to forward bases for short stays of alert duty. And they execute surprise operational readiness inspection tests that SAC inspectors spring on units to measure just how ready they are for combat. This system is manned by the senior controller, a full colonel who is authorized to act under the direction of the SAC commander in the control and execution of the SAC force. He controls several panels. One has the gold phone. Through it, the senior controller and the duty officer at the National Military Command Center in Washington have a direct link with one another. Through this network, all major military commands in the world and the highest level key government personnel can communicate immediately. The President and the Joint Chiefs might seek information from SAC over this network. White House orders to prepare for or go to war would be relayed through this phone. With this red phone and its panel, the senior controller can put the commander in immediate individual or conference contact with subordinate commanders, with the North American Air Defense Command in Colorado Springs and Headquarters United States Air Force in Washington. Wherever he goes, the SAC commander is always within reach of the gold or red telephones or their radio telephone extensions. The controller can talk to any SAC unit individually by using this gray instrument. For example, whenever a SAC aircraft has an emergency, the controller acts as a single point of contact for assistance. These materiel controllers are always ready to provide specialized guidance. If necessary, they can also call upon design engineers who built the equipment for additional details. The command post relies on two communications experts for good circuits. By dialing, they can seize high-powered SAC radio stations, select broadcast frequencies, and position antennas to give the controllers contact with air crews flying anywhere in the world. In an emergency, the SAC force would be alerted by the primary alerting system. Let's watch an actual demonstration.
The primary alerting system is operated from this position. Merely by pushing the alert button, a warble tone sounds at each SAC unit's command post. Each unit controller copies the message. If it pertains to his alert force, he activates a klaxon which alerts all personnel into rapid and efficient motion. Air crews race to their aircraft. Missile men in underground launch control centers hear the message direct from here and take appropriate action. Messages go over the primary alerting system through one of these special red phones. Operational directions for primary alerting system transmission, except for a routine maintenance message, which I will give in a moment, must be prepared in conjunction with the duty controllers and read by the officer duty controller in the presence of the senior controller. All stations acknowledge receipt on count. When they push acknowledge buttons on their consoles, the lights at the top go out. Every 3 seconds, automatic pulses go out on all primary alerting system circuits. If circuits are interrupted for any reason, lights below come on, which identify troublesome lines. Immediate steps are taken to restore these circuits. Now here's how the alerting system works. First, I must tell the duty controller that I'm going to send this message, and I must have one of the controllers with me. Failure to do either would result in the controllers forcibly stopping the message transmission. Major, I'm going to transmit a routine maintenance message. Will you join me at the console? Skybird, this is Dropkick with a maintenance test of all stations. There will not be an authentication with this maintenance test. All stations acknowledge at the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is Dropkick releasing the primary alerting system. When the lights go out, we know that those command posts received the message, understood it, and have taken the necessary prescribed action. If the light stays on, we can call that unit over the gray phone to make certain that the message was received and understood. Finally, every operational message which goes over the primary alerting system is also transmitted to all units by teletype.
Behind the controller's positions are television monitors, one for current local weather information, the other for identifying visitors to the bottom floor as they reach the control point outside. This unit displays warning information supplied by North American Air Defense Command's Ballistic Missile Early Warning System, BMEWS. Powerful radar at 3 sites in Alaska, Greenland, and England can detect missiles fired from the other side of the world. It identifies missile threats to the North American continent, the number of missiles involved, time until the first one may hit, and predicted target areas. On the map, ellipses would indicate the general geographic areas of the predicted impact. This unit also displays all unidentified air-breathing threats. That is, aircraft or missiles which operate in the atmosphere and are near our continent. They appear as orange tracks, like these planes flying around Cuba. This display is wired to special sensing devices in all probable target areas in the United States. It indicates the location of nuclear detonations. Identical warning systems are located on the command balcony. The SAC commander and his senior battle staff assemble here for briefings and would occupy these positions during exercises or actual emergencies in order to direct the SAC forces. All communications facilities of the command post extend to these desks. The commander has the gold and red phones here. Only the president can order the expenditure of nuclear weapons against an enemy. His orders would come over the gold phone. The red one is the SAC commander's network. The microphones feed into the command post's internal public address system to the floor below. Suppose that BMEWS warned us we were about to be attacked. The senior controller would immediately relay this information to the SAC commander, who would order our bombers into the air under what is called positive control. The duty controllers would pass the orders through the primary alerting system to all SAC units. Within minutes, alert bombers and tanker crews would be airborne, safe from possible destruction on the ground, and headed for their targets. Tankers would rise from bases to rendezvous at refueling locations. All the bombers would fly toward predetermined positive control points located well outside enemy radar coverage. Regardless of the hour of the day or night, the SAC commander through the command post would be in touch immediately with the senior controller, the National Command Authority in Washington, and the SAC tactical commanders in the field, and thereby be in complete command and control of his forces. If upon further examination the warning proved to be false, the bombers would return home. Positive and authenticated voice instructions originating at the presidential level are required to commit the SAC forces to their targets.
Who was General Thomas S. Power, and why is the question asked in the context of UAP UFOs?